This is you. You just spent 90 days deep undercover in literal hell, busting a human trafficking ring and dodging bullets in the sketchiest hoods imaginable. But does your editor-in-chief care 0%? This sweaty gold watch-wearing blob gets right in your face. He tells you nobody gives a damn about your investigative journalism. It doesn't get clicks. He wants the tea. He wants to know who the latest pop star is banging because that's what's trending on X. He tosses a crumpled 5 at you and tells you to fetch him a latte. You scrape your Pulitzer-worthy report off the floor while your co-workers snicker behind your back. You walk out stomach-empty, dignity non-existent, checking your pockets for bus fare. You get back to your depressing shoebox apartment and the nightmare continues. Your landlord is camping at your door, arms crossed, looking like he's ready to commit a felony. You're 3 months behind on rent. He gives you an ultimatum. Pay up by next week or your junk hits the curb. Inside, you stare at your beat-up press pass and ask yourself the real question. Does the truth actually pay the bills? Or is integrity just a luxury tax that broke people like you can't afford? While you're having a panic attack about eviction, your work buddy drags you to the roof for a smoke. Between drags, he drops a truth bomb. A broke journalist is just a stupid journalist. Before you can get offended, he slides a thick envelope into your hand. The ask. It's laughably simple. Just delete one shady dive bar from your expose on dangerous spots. Your conscience screams, red flag, and you try to shove the money back, but your buddy grips your arm. You planning to cuddle with your morals while sleeping under a bridge? He asks. Just take it. Call it a typo correction fee. Desperation wins. You pocket the cash, and it feels heavier than a brick in your chest. That night, you delete the line. Backspace. Gone. You toss and turn, wondering if you just sold your soul. But then you remember your boss treating your 3-month investigation like garbage. You make the call. Justice is cool, and all but eating. Eating is non-negotiable. The next day, you ask your buddy how to unlock more of those performance bonuses. He agrees, but drops a mafia-style condition. He wants a 30% finder's fee on everything you make. You don't even blink. Deal. Thanks to his network, you take a meeting with a mid-level cartel manager. A quick negotiation later, and you're on the payroll. A fixed, tax-free monthly retainer. Suddenly, the job gets weirdly corporate. No more shady meetups in dark alleys. Now every Monday morning, you get a self-destructing message on an encrypted app. These are your new editorial guidelines. 1 week, the order is to blast rampant vice in the West End, which just happens to be rival turf. The next week, you're exposing police brutality in the 9th Precinct, coincidentally the only cops who refuse the cartel's bribe money. You weaponize your keyboard, you destroy reputations, and the public eats it up. You sit back on your brand new Italian leather sofa, sipping wine that costs more than your old rent. You read your own headlines and smirk. The guilt gone. You tell yourself you're not a corrupt reporter. No, you're an elite copywriter for a very niche logistics firm. You're done selling your pen retail. You just signed an exclusive contract to sell your soul wholesale. Everything seems chill until you get a red alert summoning you to a private golf course. The regional boss is there working on his short game. He points his 9-iron at a sand trap and admits to a little oopsie. He buried 5 bodies in a vacant lot, but he did a sloppy job. Now the locals are talking. He gives you a deadline. Make the public forget the bodies by tomorrow morning. His assistant tosses a duffel bag at your feet. Inside 3 years of your salary in unwashed bills. The subtext is loud and clear. Fix this, you get the bag. Fail, and the body count goes up to 6. You look at the cash, then at him. That rookie fear from day 1. Gone. You kick the bag back. You tell him straight up, I'm not interested in chump change. The boss frowns. His security detail reaches for their holsters. The vibe gets tense. But you're ice cold. You drop the counter offer. You tell him you don't want a payoff. You want seed capital. You want to launch your own digital news network with total creative control. You tell him, "You put up the funding, and I'll hand you the keys to public opinion. Forever." The criminal pauses, then busts out laughing. "I like greed," he says. "It's way more reliable than morals." He shakes your hand. The deal is set. But first you have to prove your ROI. You give him a shark smile. Because in your head, you've already written the perfect script to save the devil's reputation. You lock onto a rising movie star, someone with a squeaky clean reputation. You feed an AI thousands of her photos. 30 minutes later, the algorithm spits out a pornographic deepfake so realistic it's terrifying. But you don't stop there. A video is just content. Context is receipts. You forge chat logs and buy off eyewitnesses. Then you unleash a bot farm to drop this nuke on every platform at once. The reaction is instant. The internet acts like a starving beast tearing her apart in the comments section. Her PR team screams, "Lawsuit!" And tech experts prove it's a fake. But you're just sipping your wine, grinning. You know the truth is boring, and denial just fuels the fire. It's the Streisand effect on steroids. The louder they scream, "It's a lie," the more people search for the link. Next morning, mission accomplished. The story about 5 cartel bodies found in a ditch is buried in the footer of page 10. The front page is 100% dedicated to the actress's manufactured shame. You win. While the timeline is busy canceling an innocent woman, nobody remembers the actual dead bodies. Operation Smokescreen was a total slam dunk. The cartel boss keeps his word and funds your very own media empire. You stand in front of a massive glass tower. The neon sign glows with pure irony, the Truth Sentinel. Sitting on your CEO throne, you crunch the analytics from the actress scandal. You discover the golden rule of the internet. The article debunking the fake news, barely 100,000 views. The conspiracy theory breakdown, 10 million views. You laugh. You realize the truth is like dry kale, hard to swallow. But lies are high fructose corn syrup, sweet, processed, and highly addictive. You pivot hard. You stop hiring reporters who care about facts. Instead, you recruit failed screenwriters and behavioral psychologists. Your company isn't in the news business anymore. You're in the validation business. Does your audience hate immigrants? Feed them fake stories about border chaos. Do they envy the rich, serve them eat the rich fanfiction about degenerate billionaires? You hold up a funhouse mirror that shows them exactly what they desperately want to see. Contracts start raining down. Corps wanting to nuke their competitors. Politicians needing to liquidate their rivals. The money printer goes, "You've become the world's most dangerous kingpin." But you aren't pushing white powder. You're selling something way more lethal. You're dealing in blind faith. Your media empire is now controlling the national narrative. Then you get an invite that smells like trouble. A private dinner with the big boss. You roll up to his fortress. It's giving Scarface energy gold-plated faucets in the bathroom and more armed guards than a military base. Between courses of Wagyu beef, he drops a bombshell. He stares you down and asks, "Look, if politicians are just as crooked as I am, why do they get to run the country while I'm hiding out here?" You almost choke on your espresso. The guy is a walking RICO case. His record is stained with enough blood and drugs to fill a swimming pool. But then you visualize his bank account. Infinite zeros. Your pragmatic brain kicks into gear. You remember the golden rule of modern elections. Voters don't vote for a saint. They vote for the lesser of two evils. You pitch a bold strategy, the pivot. "We don't sell you as a politician," you say. "We sell you as a dark Robin Hood. A man of action who had to get his hands dirty because the government was too weak to protect the people. An anti-establishment disruptor. Instead of trying to bleach his history, you decide to scorch the earth around his opponents. You suggest a smear campaign on steroids. Accuse rivals of running pedophile rings, stealing charity funds, being foreign assets. The cartel boss bursts out laughing. He loves the lack of morals. He slaps your shoulder and tells you with genuine admiration, "Man, you're colder than I am." In that moment, you sign the deal. You are now the showrunner for the filthiest political circus in history. It's World War III on the timeline. You go scorching earth accusing Candidate A of mega corruption and Candidate B of unspeakable sex scandals. But your rivals, they pull an Uno reverse card. They've been studying your playbook. They clap back hard, deploying their own bot armies and high-budget deepfakes. Suddenly, everyone is doom-scrolling through graphic videos of cartel massacres. Some are real, some are fake. But in this post-truth hellscape, nobody cares about the difference. The gore is viral. The vibe shifts fast. Your poll numbers nosedive. The mob goes from skeptical to bring out the guillotine. The boss storms into your office like a raging bull smashing your glass desk. He grabs you by the throat, lifting you off the ground. He's screaming in your face, reminding you that you promised him the White House, and now he's looking at lethal injection. He swears you're going down first. As you're choking out vision blurring, you manage a cynical grin. You wheeze out the ultimate question. Do you want to be loved, or do you want to win? You tell him, if he wants to win, he needs to let the hate max out, because only then can you trigger the nuclear option. He drops you. He's suspicious, but the terror of losing makes him hesitate. He lets you breathe, but his eyes say it all. This is your final strike. The boss drops you, you hit the couch wheezing. But while you're catching your breath, you pop open your laptop with zero chill. He's confused. Relax, you say. It's all part of the script. You reveal the twist that massacre footage the opposition just leaked. You gave it to them. A classic double cross. Here's the 4D chess move. You didn't generate a video from scratch, too risky, too digital. No, you went analog. You bought the rights to a shelved low-budget action movie. Then you used advanced AI to face swap the victims. The lighting real. The physics real. The detection software returns a 404 error because the base footage is legitimate. Then comes the psyop. Weeks ago, you planted a seed. The opposition is desperate. They're gonna use deep fakes. Now it looks like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You call a press conference with 3 top-tier cybersecurity experts who just bought new yachts thanks to your Cayman Islands transfers. They play the original movie clip side by side. Boom. Debunked. The public loses it. Not because of the violence, but because they got played. Rule number 1. People hate feeling stupid more than they hate a murderer. While their credibility is burning, you drop the kill shot. An AI voice clone of the rival candidate. In the clip, he calls his own voters mouth-breathing morons and laughs about taking checks from foreign spies. The vibe shift is instant. A tsunami. They stop caring about the drug lord and start demanding the head of the traitor who mocked them. You flood the zone with Pizzagate-style conspiracies about sex cults. The narrative is set. It's a choice between a strong man who gets things done versus a perverted liar who thinks you're stupid. And in that movie, the people always choose the devil they know. Your boss wins in a landslide. The inauguration is a gold-plated circus of hypocrisy. You watch from the shadows as the country's biggest felon puts on the presidential sash. He catches your eye and gives a subtle nod. You interpret that as BFFS for life. Or at least your massive ego does. Post-party you become the media godfather. You have God mode enabled. With one headline, you can turn a nobody into an icon or flush a senator's career down the toilet. Your office turns into the Wolf of Wall Street. You throw benders in the boardroom where politicians and celebs line up to kiss the ring. You get high on your own supply. You lose touch. One night amidst silk sheets and champagne, you get sloppy. You brag to your lover. Without my brain, the president is just a glorified drug dealer in a fancy suit. You actually believe he needs you more than you need him. That vanity. That's your death sentence. You forgot the bloodiest rule of the Game of Thrones. A king never keeps the Kingmaker alive. 2 a.m. The phone rings. It's the palace. This isn't an invite to a rager. It's a summons to the private study, dead silent. The president pours you a drink himself. He's venting. Sure, he won the election, but the international press won't let the whole narco thing go. He looks at you with fake vulnerability. I have the power, he says, but I don't have the halo. He wants a legacy rewrite. He wants to be remembered as a messiah, not a felon. You, drunk on your own hype and secretly looking down on him, let out a cocky laugh. You pitch the ultimate spin. You can't delete the past, Mr. President, but you can upload it to someone else. You propose the shadow puppeteer strategy. You need a fall guy. A demon in the dark who pulled the strings, manipulated the media, and tricked everyone, even the poor innocent president. You describe the script with enthusiasm, a corrupt media genius who orchestrated all the violence. The president listens, sipping his scotch. He nods. Brilliant, he says. A media manipulator who fooled the nation. It's a perfect script. He slaps you on the shoulder. You're a genius. Get the files ready. Tomorrow we announce this traitor to the world. You walk out, a chest puffed up, thinking you just saved your king. But your ego blinded you. You didn't realize. While you were busy describing the perfect villain to sacrifice, you were just reading your own character bio to the executioner. The next morning, you break the internet. Your face is plastered on every feed. The headlines are doxing your entire operation. The manipulation, the illegal tech, the hit jobs on the opposition. But the president's masterstroke. It's the spin. The official report claims you created deepfakes of him committing crimes. It says you were blackmailing him, that he was just a hostage to your algorithm. With one brilliant lie, he flips the script. He goes from cartel monster to innocent victim, finally breaking free from his abuser. You've been destroyed by the very weapon you perfected. You're Dr. Frankenstein strangled by his own monster. You look out the window. The feds are swarming your lawn. You let out a manic laugh. You accept your role. You are the ultimate fall guy. The human sacrifice needed to launch a shiny new era of tyranny. No anger, no regrets, just pure clarity. You realize the game is a flat circle. Sooner or later, every dictator ends up with the same retirement plan, rotting in a dark cell or 6 feet under.